Hi, I'm Linda and I'm a Metro Justice member. I've been concerned about climate change and climate justice for about a dozen years and spending some of my free time trying to do something about it. We're here today talking with Micheau, president of Metro Justice, who also organizes around climate justice. Climate justice is one of the pillars of the Poor People's Campaign. Can you tell us about the Poor People's Campaign, Aaron?
Yes, thank you, Linda. The Poor People's Campaign is a national campaign that is being done in the spirit of Martin Luther King's original Poor People's Campaign 50 years ago. And the idea of the campaign is collective mobilization around what they call four distinct evils. One of them is poverty, one of them is systemic racism, one of them is militarism, and these are all things that King talked about, back in 1967. And then the last piece is the one we're talking about today, which is ecological devastation.
So how do those four pieces fit together?
Ecological devastation really impacts all three of the other issues. One of the outcomes of ecological devastation is migration. In a large sense, they're moving because there's either too much water, like we see in a storm, or chronic flooding, or there's not enough water, like we see in drought, which is particularly like in Africa, for example. It's typically an issue of drought. And so when rich people move, it's an inconvenience for them. When poor people move, it's a survival issue. And when that migration happens, racism and militarism are typically the response from the political leadership we have today, right? We see the whole Trump phenomenon of demonizing Mexicans. We see racist, like openly racist and white supremacist parties in Europe. And we see a militarist response, the building of walls, the moving of National Guard to the border, militarized police forces, prisons and detention centers. The other thing that's really important about ecological devastation, and the reason that we're talking about it in the Poor People's Campaign, is because it's a timer for us. If we were given enough time, we could fix militarism, we could fix poverty, and there are organizations, I think, around the world who know how to do that, and it's just a matter of building enough political power to make those things happen. We don't have enough time. We don't have an infinite amount of time because of climate change. That is a timer for us, and eventually that time is going to run out. Building a sustainable economy and a just economy is something that our generation has to do. We can't wait for our children to figure this out because we don't have that time.
So in Rochester, not unique to the rest of the country, there have been several groups that have been working on climate justice, climate change, environmental degradation for a number of years. So where do you think we are now, and what still needs to be done? What are the barriers?
I think that we're in a place where we're really starting to work collectively. And if you look at, for example, groups like the Plex Neighborhood Group, if you look at all the groups that are working on community gardening issues, we're really starting to see a lot of collaboration. And this idea that it is an environmental issue to have control of your neighborhood, to be able to control how your neighborhood is developed, to be able to confront gentrification, for example. And we start to see that working together with the April 22nd Earth Day celebration. And it's all focused on land use and community control of land. And not only is that the theme of it, but it's actually set on Parcel 5, where that's the whole issue is this piece of land going to be used for the benefit of the community and the people who live around it, or is it going to be used for rich developers to make money off of?
I also understand that there's some collaboration going on around climate change and transportation issues. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So one of the issues here is moving towards a fossil fuel free economy, and that dovetails with this question of economic justice and equity, and public transportation is one issue that addresses both of those. Yes, the bus system is still fossil fuels, but the more people are using mass transit, the less fossil fuels we're using. And even with RTS, we see a willingness on their side to start to move towards electric buses. But what we're really focused on right now is expanding that system and making it work for everyone, making it work for the people who depend on it now, and making it work for people who right now are driving. The more mass transit we have, the better off that we're going to be moving into a sustainable future. And frankly, right now we're in the fight back, or the opposition is really, we're in a period of austerity. We're seeing a county and even at the state level, as far as transportation goes, an unwillingness to spend more. And so our response to ecological devastation has to be more public investment, and it has to be more for the commons, and as opposed to less, as opposed to privatization. Because if we go the route of privatization, we're not going towards sustainability.
Absolutely. So what gives you hope?
I think what gives me hope is the bright side, and Naomi Klein writes about this a lot and very eloquently, that ecological devastation, or if we're talking about climate change, it gives us a reason to unite around these issues. It gives us a reason to work collectively, and it gives us that timer, right? Because like every timer, eventually the time's going to run out, and people are recognizing that. I think with regards to public transit, we're looking to unify with groups all over the state, and to push for greater funding. Together, I think that we can achieve that. We can grow the system, grow the public system, and once you show like what's possible, I think we'll see more people fighting for those things.
Well, in light of this huge climate crisis affecting the globe, the country, and Rochester, I'm really happy to have been able to end this on a hopeful note with you, Aaron. Thanks for talking with us today.
Thank you, Linda.